Welcome to this week's Mike's Top Tooltips. Now, as you know, I support lots of clients understand the role of technical information within their organization. I help them understand what best practice is, how appropriate specifications and standards adoption should be employed, and I help them identify the best way to implement a strategy and how to identify the right tools for their organization. Now, in order for me to do that, I use lots of software tools, and my clients have inspired me to produce this series of videos that look at specifically those tools that I use. Now, the great thing about this series is we're looking at low cost, often free tools that I use to help identify problems within organizations or to help people get going much quicker than what they would do if they had to buy a heavy hitting solution. So this week I want to look at something called Xmind. Now, Xmind is a great tool that I use, and it's a free tool, and there is a pro version. Now, we don't have any affiliation or any kind of reseller agreement or anything with the guys at Xmind. We actually bought and own this software, and we use it for lots of great reasons. Now, first and foremost, I use it as a mind mapping solution. So if you're familiar with mind maps, you know how you can work with mind maps. You get your thoughts down onto paper, or you get your thoughts down into your computer, so that when you revisit them, you can quickly come back and you can see your thought processes that you went through at that particular time. And it works really well for me, and you can have some great massive mind maps that easily I can come back to a month or two later, and I can go, oh yeah, that's what I was thinking. I understand what I was thinking. And the great thing is as well, is that when I use this software, it gives me an opportunity to put in questions or icons or graphics to help me visualize where I was. So I can, often in a meeting, I'll sit down and I'll put questions in at various points using the mind mapping software. But the power of Xmind, and you can do this in the free version, is that I use it to help me define things like S1000D SNS structures, publication modules, DMRLs, or even a data module structure. How do I do that? Well, let's have a look at the tool itself. So if you're familiar with how mind mapping tools work, they work in a similar way regardless of what you're using. So this is the Xmind version that we use, but there is FreeMind and there's MindJet and there's all sorts of great things out there that do this kind of stuff. Now, all that's behind this is XML structures. So here I've put together a very basic demo of what I would use to put together a publication module. So if we're trying to put together a manual, for example, I can quickly visually put together the structures of this particular publication module. And the great thing is that it's a visual way for me to be able to see how this is all coming together. Because coming from an engineering background, I like to work in a very graphical way. You know, you're used to working and learning schematics and those kind of things in a very visual way. And this tool really aids me. And the great thing is that I can share this with my clients. But what makes it even more powerful is in the publication module level here, if I wanted to, I can actually include a DMRF, or the data module code. And the great thing there is that once we have that, all these structures out with our data module codes, in the Pro version, I can export this to Excel. And anybody who understands what's going on in the background and you're familiar with transformation engines, that means we can create a publication module using a little bit of transformation directly from this software. Now that's very, very powerful, and it's a great way for you to get working very quickly with S1000D publication modules. But one thing that we did use it for quite successfully was that I was involved on a consultancy where we had to define the SNS structures for a new defense platform. Now, these guys were not coming from a full-blown ILS, LSAR type background. This was all being backfilled from technical publications, and not many tech pubs projects, if you're on the smaller programs, will use those great big LSA, ILS based specifications or standards. Now, so when we were working with our client on this particular SNS structure, what we did was we defined a complete platform, and I've just extracted a little bit of it here. We defined a complete platform SNS structure for use on a new armored vehicle. And what was great was that these guys could then, in their organization, they had some huge printers, and what they did is they printed these SNS structures out for their Tech Pubs team to have on the wall, and they could all see the structures and they could see how it worked really well. But again, what we did was we created the SNS structures, we exported it, we gave it to an engineer, and we said, what do you think? Is this what you like? We made the changes, and we then added the data module codes that we wanted at each individual SNS level, which meant that we could create the DMRL from this quite quickly and quite easily, which was very, very powerful, saved a huge amount of time, and it meant that those that wanted to work in Excel could work in Excel, and those that wanted to work in a visual way on this could work in a visual way on this. And that worked really well for us. And the project has used this approach on a new program going forward as well. So it's actually a very, very strong way and powerful way of being able to put together some definitions for your program or for your project. And as I said previously, if you are familiar with transformations, you can easily, because behind here is XML, you can make it what you want it to be quite quickly and quite easily. So this is one of the tools that I use. Now, if you've done any of our courses on TDIQ, you know that I use this a lot to show what's happening in terms of process or what's going on in the philosophies in the background. I use Xmind a lot to show you how that works and how it all comes together, so you're familiar with why and how I use this. And in fact, I think we used it on a legacy data conversion course where I showed how we defined a DMRL. So this week's Mike's Top Tooltips is Xmind. Download the free version, take a look. It's over there on xmind.de, I think it is, and I'll put the link down below. I'd be really interested to know what tools you use to make your life really, really easy when it comes to defining things like your technical publications needs, helping you contract for TP. And if you do like this kind of tutorial, do leave a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment below. And if you have any tools you would like me to take a look at, then please do send me a link and I'll certainly take a look.